Hi, welcome to SFG Cards and Craft. Today I'd like to show you how I did this card using a stamp set that I bought with a magazine called the Hummingbird Designer Collection, made by Apple Blossom Intricate Sophistication. There's the stamp set. I tore the plastic when I actually opened it, so I had to put it into a different bag. And there's the magazine, Simply Cards, Australian Simply Cards, issue 104. I haven't bought a magazine for a long time. In fact, when I first started trying to stamp and make cards and things, a few years ago now, I was only relying on the stamps that came with the magazines. But to be perfectly honest, the stamp quality on magazines is not the best. It's not the proper photopolymer. It came with a embossing folder, which is quite a good embossing folder. These stamps are not a proper photopolymer, and therefore they don't hold the ink very well. You'll notice actually when I do get to ink it, you'll notice that the darkness of the ink goes very light very quickly, and I have to keep going back. See there, I had to go back, and you can see the change in the colour again. And I'm holding it down a lot longer and making sure that it actually does stamp properly, which I wouldn't have to do that for a normal stamp, like a normal photopolymer, like for the like a lawn fawn or mama elephant, Elton U, those sort of quality stamps. They don't need that sort of extra time as such. And because this is watercolour paper also, it does take a little while to absorb into it. I'm actually using a mask because one of the leaves on the second flower, it's the same flower but that I'm stamping a second time, overlaps. So I've made a mask so it'll actually appear to go underneath. And you'll see quite here, I think. Oh no, it's on the bird when I stamped the hummingbird on, that you can actually see quite clearly how the ink sort of puddles, and I have to keep going back. You've got to be fairly quick once you've actually inked the stamp. You've got to be fairly quick pressing it on your paper, otherwise it won't do a good impression. I was very lucky here that I did actually get a good impression on each one of them, but in the past I've had problems. Not to worry. And I forgot to take the mask off. Not that it would have mattered. I'm not putting the bird here. See, the bird's gone quite light again there. It's gone dark again, and I've stamped it. And very quickly, it's gone again. Very quickly, you've got to be getting that stamp down there and hold it just to be sure. Okay, as I said, I was very lucky with this set to actually get a decent sort of stamping on it. And bringing in the lawn fawn, I think it's called Harold's ABC. And as you see, some of them are falling out. I actually had a little bit of an accident. I accidentally spilt some powder or embossing powder or something on to my stamp set, and of course when I went to put some of the stamps back into place, they won't stick. So I've got to go over them and actually clean some of them out now. And this I'm going to emboss, so I'm inking it up. This is the black Onyx, VersaFine black Onyx, or Onyx black ink I'm using, and clear embossing powder. And I noticed actually after doing this card, the second liner didn't quite get straight, but the letters, I don't think they're actually made to go perfectly straight anyway, the letters, but the line I got a little bit crooked. I like these letters actually, but I do wish that sometimes that they were a little bit smaller, so I could actually put more closer together, more words in the same area sort of thing. I'm not sure how big they are, but they're probably, the lines on that block that I'm using there is like, I think, centimetre squares, and they're probably about 3/4 of a centimetre high, the actual stamping image, so gives you an indication. So about 7 or 8 millimetres high each letter. But I would like to try and see if I can get some that are around about 5 millimetres high, but I haven't been able to find anything that small, and so that I can actually put them a little bit closer together. Okay, the second line says lost 4, and that's the one I didn't quite put on straight. I'm hopeless at straight stamping. I really am. I should have used, I've actually got a Misty. Well, when I say a Misty, it's something I made myself, and I should have used that, but to try and put the words on that would have been quite difficult. And so there's the full sentiment for the front. It says, when you're lost for words, and then I put ... so it continues to the inside of the card. A card like this with this sentiment, and with this picture, could probably be used for a sympathy card, depending on what you put on the inside of the card. And I apologise for my hair getting in the way there. It's been very wet lately here in Sydney, very humid, and my hair, as soon as the wet weather starts or the humidity, my hair just goes frizzy. I can't control it. Just heat setting that now. And I did get a little bit of a smudge there on the W. I don't worry about that too much though. I don't know what happened there. Maybe when I put the stamp down, perhaps I touched the paper first before I actually placed it a little bit higher. I don't know. I didn't notice the smudge there before I tried stamping it, so it must have been what's happened. And that's that done. So, and going to do some distress ink with this is Peacock feather. I like the peacock feathers. Oh, and I had two pieces of paper stuck together. I had no idea they were both there. Peacock feathers is a very pretty colour, I think, and I just, most often when I'm doing distressing like this in the background, I'm using blues. But I thought I'll just do something different because the bird's going to be done in a turquoise, and this is a sort of a turquoise colour, a fairly light turquoise. I call it turquoise anyway. It's a fairly light sort of a bluey green sort of turquoise colour. And I'm trying to stay away from the flowers, although in hindsight I probably could have gone over the leaves, but I like to see like that halo around the things when I'm actually done this. I like to see like a little white halo around them. I think it makes them stand out more. Although with the bird I wasn't too concerned because the bird's going to be done in a turquoise paint, which is one called Turquoise Green number 57, and this is the first card that I've actually done using my brand new Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolour set. I got the 36 colour set for my birthday. It's my birthday today, by the way. My husband bought it for me for my birthday. So I got that. This is the first card that I've actually done with it. So the first thing I've actually done was my colour chart, which I actually show shortly. I had to make up my own colour chart. Oh, and I spritz it too with. This is just, I just have a bottle of water that I was using for houseplants, spraying houseplants just to humidify them a little bit. And this is all I'm using. Let it stay on for about 15 seconds and then blot it off with a paper towel. And I was quite impressed with the way it came out. This is the first time I've really done it like this. When I've tried doing it in the past, I haven't been using it on the proper watercolour paper, and it just come out blotchy. It didn't look good at all because it just seemed to soak straight into the paper, whereas the watercolour paper sits on top. Okay, now there's my colour chart that I made up, as you see, made by SFG Cards and Craft. On the top I've got written. If anyone wants a copy of that colour chart, as in the blank before the paints go on, of course, I can email it to you. Just email your address to me and I'll email it to you. I've just used Word for Windows to make it in. Nothing special, but you're welcome to use it if you want. And just painting these now. The two colours that I'm using on the flowers is orange number 33 and scarlet red number 31. I don't mix these colours together with anything else, just they're both the same. The raw colours are going on, just watered down colours of them or versions of them. So if you want, we'll sit back and watch the painting. And the green on the leaves, mid green, medium yellow, and a little bit of the dark pink, which is number 34. Okay, I'll come back when I start on the bird. I'll sit back and have a listen to some music. Hello, we're back again. This is actually now painting the bird. The colour I'm using here is called Turquoise Green number 57. The wings that I'm painting, I have actually put probably slightly darker colour than the rest of the turquoise that I'm actually using. A little bit less watered down on the wings, and on these two feathers on the tail here, that's fairly less watered down as well. At this point my camera was almost running out of battery, and I was rushing through this to try and get it finished before the battery went flat. In fact, I actually didn't quite get it all. I had to get some battery charged up and then come back and just show the finished off bit, which was actually I touched up the eye of the bird with a black glaze pen and then put a white dot in it. The pink is called Dark Pink number 34. And also on the stamen on the flowers, I actually did put yellow glaze pen on there, but I wasn't happy with that, so I put white dots using the can't remember, just one of those white pens that you use, that everyone in crafting uses. Probably most people have got them. So just dotted the white dots in with those. So you'll see that at the end, not showing it done, but showing how it was just as finished card. I've just taken off a little bit of the colour on the wings there and put on a bit of pink, and this is now bringing in a little bit of Jo Sonja turquoise iridescent paint. I'm not really sure what the colour of hummingbirds is. I've never really studied them, but this I remember actually seeing that hummingbirds have like an almost iridescent look on their feathers. So this is what I'm actually putting on here, is the iridescent paint. This is actually a true paint. It's like an acrylic type paint, not a watercolour paint. So you have to make sure that you wash your brushes out pretty quickly afterwards. And just putting it on the wings, the head, and those two and on the tail feathers. And I show it done here very quickly. There you can see the glistening of the iridescent paint. It looked quite good actually. And there's the finished card with the stamens on the flowers done and the eye on the bird. And if you like this, please subscribe. And inside, so the whole sentiment says, when you're lost for words, and inside just hum. I thought it was appropriate, just something I came up with. So if you like this, please subscribe and click the like button. And thank you for watching. Bye.